After Huang shocked everyone by nearly crushing the neck of Emperor clan genius Yu Yu despite being heavily restrained with chains and shackles. The crowd was horrified, realizing that if Huang had not been sealed, he might have killed an Emperor clan member on the spot. Wu Kun and Qing Kun openly mocked Yu Yu for nearly dying to a prisoner, humiliating him even further. Furious, Yu Yu, Wu Kun, Qing Kun, and Yi Ziming attempted to search Huang's primordial spirit to uncover the secrets that had attracted so much attention from the higher authorities. However, a supreme being warned them that numerous restrictions had been placed on Huang's soul, and any attempt to inspect it would trigger his self-destruction, forcing them to abandon the idea. Huang calmly remarked that no one was willing to truly fight him, prompting the supreme being to announce that he would be sent to War God Academy as a fighter, whose role was to sharpen other geniuses through battle. The announcement immediately caused a sensation. War God Academy was one of the 10 greatest academies of the foreign realm. Built upon the remains of the fallen undying King Luo Mo, countless powerful cultivators had graduated from there, though only a select few ever earned the title of War God. Every year, only 1,000 students were allowed to remain after fierce selection battles, with newcomers constantly challenging existing students for their places. This year attracted even more attention because several Emperor clan prodigies, including Yu Yu, Qing Kun, Wu Kun, Yi Ziming, and Mo Xian, all decided to enter the academy specifically because Huang would be there as a fighter. The academy was located deep within a mysterious mountain range resembling countless sleeping true dragons, filled with dangerous black mist, auspicious purple energy, and blood-red divine light. Although the core ancestral land had long been moved away by Luo Mo's descendants, it remained an extraordinary sacred place. Huang himself did not qualify as one of the academy's 1,000 students. Instead, he was brought there early as a prisoner and confined inside a dark prison. Inside, Huang discovered hundreds of chained prisoners similar to himself. Among them were many descendants of the 9 heavens and 10 earths, along with criminals from the foreign realm. When Huang spoke the language of the 9 heavens, an elderly barbaric ox revealed that his own ancestors had once been captured from the 9 heavens and forced into slavery by a king clan. Huang was deeply shaken to find dozens of human descendants from his homeland living there. Yet they had become completely numb and hopeless after generations of suffering. The old barbaric ox explained that many captives from the 9 heavens had been enslaved after being defeated in past wars. They were sent to academies and powerful clans as expendable fighters whose purpose was to battle talented students, allowing those geniuses to gain combat experience through life and death struggles. Most eventually died in this role. Learning this filled Huang with grief and fury, especially knowing that the descendants of those who had resisted until the end were condemned to such miserable lives, while traitors who had defected to the foreign realm continued to prosper. Several days later, after the academy finalized its 1,000 students, the prison gates were opened and the prisoners prepared to begin their brutal fate. While the old barbaric ox sighed that their tragic destiny had arrived, Huang's eyes blazed with killing intent. Instead of accepting humiliation, he declared that if the academy's geniuses dared treat them as disposable tools, he would show them that true war gods could still rise even while wearing shackles. The Great Dao Palace, a massive floating palace within War God Academy, was one of the Academy's greatest cultivation sites where supreme experts regularly lectured on the Dao. Filled with chaotic mist, natural laws, and the source energy of all living beings, it could hold hundreds of thousands of people, though only 8,000 disciples were allowed to cultivate there. Besides serving as a place to comprehend scriptures, it also functioned as a brutal combat arena. Shi Hao and the other prisoners were brought there from the Black Prison. The old barbaric ox trembled upon arriving because every previous visit had subjected him to unbearable torture. When Shi Hao arrived, a supreme being was concluding a lecture on the Tao. Although he had missed most of it, the profound Tao laws, golden lotus manifestations, dragons, phoenixes, and countless divine symbols still left him deeply shaken. After the lecturer departed, several half-step Supreme Being elders remained behind to answer the disciples' cultivation questions through practical demonstrations. One elder explained that every cultivator possessed different limits and that true potential could only be revealed by constantly breaking through one's physical boundaries. To prove this, he selected a fighter, a slave or condemned criminal used solely as a cultivation tool. and forced him to resist overwhelming pressure. As the fighter's bones shattered, flesh split apart, and blood poured from every wound, hidden potential within his body gradually awakened. The elder calmly pointed out the glowing areas where divine power emerged, explaining that a cultivator's greatest potential often surfaced only when approaching death. Shi Hao watched with icy eyes as the elders treated the fighters like disposable objects rather than living people. Although the battered fighter barely survived, Shi Hao was disgusted by the academy's ruthless methods of pursuing cultivation. Another disciple then asked how to harness the power of heaven and earth to suppress enemies. The elder responded that true mastery came from resonating with the natural laws of the world and becoming one with heaven and earth. To demonstrate, he selected the old barbaric ox, effortlessly bypassed its defensive techniques using the formless power of the great Tao instead of ordinary ancestral methods, shattered its protective barriers, broke one of its horns, and left it gravely injured. The elder then allowed the disciples to practice for themselves. Chaos immediately erupted throughout the great Tao Palace as students experimented with body potential, combat techniques, and natural laws by using the fighters as living test subjects. Many fighters were severely injured or killed, leaving blood covering the palace floor. The old barbaric ox bitterly remarked that simply surviving another session was already fortunate. Eventually, Shi Hao was also chosen to spar with one of the academy's geniuses. However, despite his disheveled appearance and partially covered face, many people recognized him as Huang, causing a huge commotion throughout the palace. The selected disciple hesitated to fight him, fearing certain defeat, but the elders assured everyone that Shi Hao was restrained by Supreme Being forged shackles that greatly limited his strength. The half-step Supreme Being used Shi Hao as another teaching example, claiming that even the famous Huang had become a helpless prisoner and encouraging the disciples to use the power of heaven and earth to suppress him. Numerous geniuses attacked together, attempting to overwhelm him with the so-called greater force of the world. However, despite the heavy shackles, Shi Hao's body erupted with dazzling divine light. Furious after witnessing the cruel treatment of the fighters, he broke through the incoming suppression with overwhelming strength. One after another, the attackers were blasted away as the supposed power of heaven and earth was torn apart by his raw might. Then Shi Hao swung the iron chains binding him around one disciple's neck and violently twisted them, instantly snapping the man's neck and sending his head flying. Blood splashed across the already stained Great Tao Palace, and the atmosphere changed completely. The death of an ordinary fighter had meant little to the academy, but the death of one of War God Academy's own geniuses enraged everyone present, filling the palace with furious shouts and accusations. Huang shocked everyone in Great Tao Palace by beheading a War God Academy genius during a training session, an event almost unheard of since the academy's disciples had always been the ones slaughtering their sparring partners. The elders were enraged after discovering the disciples' primordial spirit had been completely destroyed, making resurrection impossible. Although some wanted to execute Huang immediately, higher authorities had ordered that he remain alive for the time being, forcing the elders to suppress their anger. Huang remained calm, knowing that despite his miserable status as a prisoner, his unique value still protected him from immediate death. Meanwhile, anxiety spread throughout the immortal domain because powerful undying kings like Anlin and Shudo had yet to return from the burial land, raising concerns despite widespread confidence in their strength. At the same time, many academy disciples became eager to challenge Huang after hearing of his defiance. Later, in Weapon Hall, where disciples studied the cultivation of weapons, Huang and the other prisoners were once again used as living training targets. This time his shackles were reinforced to prevent another incident. A half-supreme explained the cultivation of vicious blood weapons by demonstrating with a blood-red spear that pierced several prisoners, instantly killing some while draining others of their blood. When the old barbaric ox beside Huang was impaled by a blood sword and nearly drained dry, Huang could no longer endure it. Using only the strength of his shackled body, he smashed the blood sword apart. Seeing this, the instructor deliberately encouraged the academy disciples to use Huang's extraordinary blood to nourish their vicious weapons. A King clan cultivator attacked first with a heaven-gathering parasol, followed by many others wielding blood-soaked weapons in hopes of revenge. Despite wearing 2 layers of shackles that completely sealed his cultivation, Huang relied solely on his overwhelming physical strength to destroy the parasol and then shattered numerous other weapons with his chains. Their owners suffered severe backlash and coughed up blood as their treasured weapons were destroyed. Unable to tolerate the humiliation any longer, the half-supreme hastily ended the lesson. Although many disciples were injured, none died, leaving even scripture lecturers wondering whether Huang's strength had simply become overwhelming or whether the academy's elite had become embarrassingly weak. 2 days later, an even greater disaster struck in Magical Force Hall. Instead of serving as sparring targets, Huang and the other prisoners were used in a brutal experiment. The other prisoners were crushed to death by the overwhelming magical pressure almost immediately after entering. Huang, however, was placed inside a movable divine gold prison after his shackles were removed and pushed deep into the hall by the academy's disciples, who wanted to test the limits of his magical resistance while enjoying his suffering. Unknown to them, Huang had perfected his magical force immunity over the years. His ability had evolved beyond merely resisting magical attacks. It could now disrupt and nullify the magical force of others. As the disciples advanced deeper into the hall, Huang activated this ability, causing the magical protection surrounding over 100 academy elites to collapse instantly. Without their defensive magical force, they were crushed by the hall's terrifying pressure, with bodies exploding into clouds of blood one after another. Despite desperate rescue efforts by a furious half-supreme, 83 elite disciples were killed in the catastrophe. The academy was thrown into chaos, with many furious elders calling it an unforgivable disaster. News of the massacre quickly spread throughout War God Academy. The young geniuses of the emperor clans, who had previously ignored Huang while exploring the academy left behind by an undying king, finally decided he had proven himself worthy of becoming their training target. However, before they could challenge him, they learned that the powerful Gu clan, an ancient clan equal in status to the emperor clans and descended from the 9 heavens, had already taken Huang away. After being taken away by the Gu clan, Huang's whereabouts became the center of attention. The emperor clan youths, including Mo Xian, Wu Kun, Qing Kun, and Yu Yu, investigated and discovered that he had been confined inside the medicine refinement hall. The Gu clan, one of the powerful clans originating from the 9 heavens, had requested custody of Huang because they wanted to investigate his past and uncover the secrets hidden within him. However, the upper ranks of War God Academy were divided. Some supported handing Huang over to the Gu clan, while others feared the Gu clan's methods were too cruel and might cripple or kill him. Since the Undying Kings had not yet returned from the ancient burial land, no final decision could be made, so Huang was temporarily detained in the medicine refinement hall. The hall was sealed off, and many disciples gathered outside after hearing the news. Rumors spread that Huang was about to be punished, while some celebrated because they considered him a ruthless enemy. When the gates finally opened, Wu Kun, Yu Yu, and the others entered, only to find themselves blocked by powerful formations. Deep inside the hall sat 3 supreme beings, one from the Gu clan, one from the fearless lion bloodline, and one from the fallen ancient monk bloodline. Their appearance shocked everyone, as these clans all traced their origins back to the 9 heavens. The disciples were horrified to discover an ancient medicinal furnace burning before the 3 supreme beings. They quickly realized Huang was inside the furnace being refined. Another supreme being soon arrived, explaining that this dangerous process was necessary if they wished to search Huang's memories without triggering restrictions inside his sea of consciousness that would cause his primordial spirit to self-destruct. The Gu clan's supreme being personally controlled the Tao flames beneath the furnace and stated that, if necessary, Huang could later be taken to the Gu clan's legendary Yin-Yang furnace, which could reverse heaven and earth and reveal every secret hidden within him. As the refinement continued, the furnace emitted dazzling multicolored light. The Gu clan elder confirmed that Huang was indeed inside. Instead of immediately killing him, they were attempting to extract the human-grade medicine hidden within his body, believing his physique contained extraordinary treasures. While many feared Huang would die, the Gu clan insisted they had confidence in the process. They also claimed that, if successful, the refinement might even benefit Huang rather than destroy him. While refining Huang, the Gu clan's supreme being unexpectedly began teaching Tao scriptures to the gathered disciples. He explained that cultivation resembled gathering medicinal ingredients and that the great Tao itself was like medicine. According to him, refining Huang was equivalent to harvesting the supreme medicinal essence hidden inside a cultivator's body. As everyone watched, Huang's flesh, Blood and essence gradually separated under the power of yin and yang. Mysterious, human body medicinal flowers bloomed from every piece of his flesh. And eventually even his skull was removed, exposing his primordial spirit to the refining process. More supreme beings arrived during the refinement, including one surrounded by immortal energy and another believed to be from an emperor clan. They emphasized that Huang's primordial spirit must not be harmed and insisted that, if the current method failed, he should be transported to the Jiyu clan's yin-yang furnace instead. The fearless lion supreme being, however, believed they were already treating Huang too leniently. The Jiyu clan's supreme being remained calm and confident, declaring that the Jiyu clan alone was responsible for carrying out the refinement and that everyone else only needed to observe. As they were certain of their methods, Jiyu clan remained one of the strongest forces, and its supreme being ignored both the fearless lion's complaints and the emperor clan's objections while continuing to refine Shi Hao inside the medicinal furnace. The overwhelming pressure from the Jiyu clan elder silenced everyone present, including the young emperor clan prodigies and War God Academy students. As the furnace glowed brighter under the great Dao flames, it gradually became transparent, allowing everyone to witness Shi Hao's horrifying condition. His blood essence, flesh, and divine power were extracted and refined into a glowing medicinal paste, convincing the spectators that he was beyond saving. Even those who hated him felt pity after seeing such a cruel fate. The old fearless lion praised the process as the legendary method of harvesting human body great medicine, claiming that the refined essence of a powerful cultivator surpassed any natural treasure. While Jiyu clan's elders silently controlled the flames, Shi Hao's bones separated from his flesh, cracked apart, and his primordial spirit endured unimaginable agony. The suffering was so extreme that even experienced cultivators like Mo Xian, He Ziming, and Yu Yu felt chills simply watching it. Fallen ancient monk recognized the technique as the legendary yin-yang refinement, which dismantled every aspect of a cultivator's life force. As Shi Hao's bones shattered into countless fragments, fragrant medicinal energy filled the furnace, proving that his cultivation, divine power, and natural laws were being extracted into an incredibly valuable medicinal treasure. Even Jiyu clan's supreme being admitted Shi Hao possessed extraordinary spiritual power, making him an exceptionally valuable, human body great medicine. Some cruel members of the foreign clans even desired to consume the refined medicine themselves. However, an emperor clan supreme being questioned whether crippling Shi Hao before the immortal kings returned was too excessive. Worrying about the consequences, the old fearless lion dismissed the concern, insisting that as long as Shi Hao's primordial spirit survived, the immortal kings could still search his memories. Many believed Jiyu clan's elder was acting even more ruthlessly than the foreign invaders, perhaps intentionally destroying one of the nine heavens' greatest talents before he could become a future threat. Shi Hao himself silently cursed these traitors, believing they were even more hateful than true enemies. While enduring unbearable pain, he sensed mysterious power probing his primordial spirit, attempting to break through the powerful seals protecting his memories. Fallen ancient monk explained that these seals were extraordinarily difficult to remove, as even stronger experts risked destroying Shi Hao completely if they forced their way in. Suddenly, the sound of divine chains of order breaking echoed from inside the furnace, alarming every supreme being present. They realized Shi Hao's cultivation laws and Dao foundations were collapsing. Although Jiyu clan's elder pretended to regret that Shi Hao had failed to undergo a miraculous transformation, everyone understood it was merely an excuse. Since he had deliberately torn apart Shi Hao's cultivation, Shi Hao could clearly feel the cultivation system and Dao power he had built within the nine heavens being violently ripped away and destroyed. For any cultivator, there could be no greater despair than watching every achievement of a lifetime shattered before their eyes. Shi Hao was overwhelmed by grief and rage after realizing that everything he had achieved through countless hardships had been destroyed. Although he had expected a tragic fate after entering the foreign realm, he never imagined such a cruel outcome. His cultivation had been ruined, his future seemed hopeless, and death almost felt like a release. Even so, he refused to surrender or take his own life, remaining determined to resist fate until the end. The Jiyu clan elder coldly dismissed the severity of the situation, claiming Shi Hao was only half-crippled because his primordial spirit still existed. While many of the foreign experts were horrified by how ruthless the punishment had become, Even the Emperor Clan's supreme being and the golden-furred old lion criticized the Jiyu clan elder for going too far. As Shi Hao's body was refined inside the furnace, his flesh, bones, organs, and essence were extracted, while his primordial spirit steadily weakened. The fallen ancient monk warned that the restrictions hidden within Shi Hao's soul were about to activate, which would cause his body and spirit to explode instantly. Instead of breaking down, Shi Hao calmed himself, accepted the pain, and resolved to experience every bit of suffering with an unshakable Tao heart. His extraordinary will shocked everyone watching, as they realized his incredible determination was the true reason behind his unmatched strength and success. When Shi Hao's unstable primordial spirit nearly triggered the deadly restrictions, the old lion and the Emperor Clan supreme being urgently ordered the Jiyu clan elder to activate the furnace's yin-yang reversal power to prevent his immediate death. Although the reversal stopped the restrictions from exploding, the clash of yin and yang energies severely damaged Shi Hao's soul even further, leaving it so weak that it could disappear at any moment. The Emperor Clan supreme being angrily accused the Jiyu clan elder of deliberately destroying Shi Hao, while the elder insisted that Shi Hao was still alive and could still be preserved with careful handling. The foreign experts gradually realized the situation had become far more serious than expected. The Jiyu clan elder admitted that Shi Hao's original cultivation foundation had been completely destroyed because his body had first been refined under the incomplete natural laws of the 9 heavens before being refined again under the foreign realm's perfect laws. Restoring him would require enormous treasures to completely reconstruct his body and cultivation within the foreign world, a cost the Jiyu clan elder considered unnecessary. This explanation only increased everyone's anger, as they feared they would be unable to explain Shi Hao's condition to the undying kings. Several days later, more supreme beings from different clans arrived and strongly opposed sending Shi Hao into the Jiyu clan's true yin-yang furnace, believing he would almost certainly die there. The Jiyu clan defended its actions, arguing that only the true furnace could completely refine Shi Hao and possibly remove the restrictions within his primordial spirit. Others rejected this idea, insisting that the furnace itself was too dangerous, concerned that the undying kings might have greater plans for Shi Hao and would become furious if he died. Many experts demanded that his condition be reversed instead. They ultimately proposed reforging Shi Hao's body and cultivation completely within the foreign world so that he could recover rather than perish.